Hello and welcome to Metro News on RayPower 100.5 FM. I am Idimachi Ikechukwu. The Nigerian Senate resumed plenary after a 3-week recess, which allowed ministries, departments, and agencies to defend their 2026 budget proposals and for lawmakers to scrutinize the details. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu transmitted several letters seeking Senate confirmation of key appointments, which include Professor Francis Asokwa, nominated as Commissioner representing the Southeast in the Nigerian Law Reform Commission; Maina Sarah Ilo, nominated as Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Anti-Doping Center for a 4-year initial term; Senator Magnus Abe, nominated as Chairman of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, with Engineer Paul Yaro and Sunday Babalola as non-executive commissioners. 2 additional commissioners were forwarded for confirmation to serve on the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. In each case, President Tinubu urged the Senate to conduct expeditious screenings and confirm the nominees promptly. President Bola Tinubu has written to the Senate seeking approval and confirmation of the nomination of Taiwo Oyedele as the new Minister of State for Finance. President Tinubu had last week nominated Oyedele as a replacement for Doris Uzoka Anite, who has now been moved to the Ministry of Budget and National Planning as Minister of State, marking her 3rd portfolio in the current administration. Before his nomination, Oyedele served as chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, where he led efforts aimed at overhauling Nigeria's tax system. Given the urgency of the request, the nomination is referred to the Committee of the Whole for further legislative consideration. The president has also transmitted the 2026 budget of the Federal Capital Territory Administration to the Senate for consideration. In a letter read on the floor of the Senate, the president stated that the 2026 budget proposal has been prepared based on projected revenue and expenditure forecasts. He noted that the proposal aligns with the fiscal and developmental policies of the federal government and the Renewed Hope agenda. The budget also takes into account the 2025 to 2028 economic recovery and growth plan, as well as the key assumptions of the 2026 Appropriation Act of the federal government. And Senator representing Rivers West, Ikpalibo Banigo, has formally defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. Banigo, who previously served as Deputy Governor of Rivers State under the administration of Nyesom Wike, said her decision is based on her resolve to align with her political mentor, Wike, and the Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, in supporting the president's reform agenda, which she said has led to improvements in the nation's economic outlook, currency stability, and infrastructure development. Banigo, in a letter, noted that her decision followed extensive consultations with her constituents, political associates, and key stakeholders across her senatorial district. Now, ahead of Nigeria's 2027 general elections, the Nigerian Air Force has pledged massive logistical intelligence and aerial security support to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to guarantee credible, safe, and well-coordinated polls.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, gave the assurances when he led a delegation of senior Air Force commanders to INEC's headquarters in Abuja, stressing that the Air Force is fully mobilizing its aircraft, surveillance drones, and intelligence assets to support the country's most critical democratic exercise. The Chief of Air Staff says the force is willing to deploy its air power and operational expertise to ensure that election materials, personnel, and security arrangements reach even the most remote parts of the country, as it is already preparing heavy-haul and medium-range aircraft for rapid deployment of both sensitive and non-sensitive electoral materials across Nigeria. Aneke added that with proper command and control coordination between INEC and security agencies, aerial surveillance could detect threats early and prevent electoral violence as he proposed a joint rehearsal and simulation exercise ahead of elections to eliminate operational weaknesses. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor George Amokbita, described the visit as a strong sign of confidence in the commission and an important step in strengthening cooperation between both institutions ahead of upcoming elections. He emphasized the importance of stronger collaboration with the Nigerian Air Force to ensure credible, secure, and well-coordinated elections across Nigeria. The INEC chairman noted that the commission had already released the timetable for the 2027 general elections, with the presidential and National Assembly elections scheduled for 16th of January 2027, while that of governorship and state houses of assembly elections will be held on February 6, 2027, in line with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2026. He also disclosed that the commission would soon conduct off-cycle governorship elections in Ekiti State in June and Osun State on August 15th, describing the elections as crucial tests ahead of the 2027 general elections. He expressed appreciation to the Nigerian Air Force for its consistent support to the electoral body, particularly in providing logistics and security assistance before and during elections.
And in political matters, former Senate President Bukola Saraki has urged leaders of the People's Democratic Party to end their ongoing court battles and accept the judgment of the Court of Appeal, warning that the continued litigation could jeopardize the party's chances in the 2027 general elections. He said the party should instead focus on organizing a fresh national convention that complies with the timetable and guidelines of the Independent National Electoral Commission. According to him, waiting for a possible ruling from the Supreme Court could delay the process of nominating candidates for the next elections. Saraki further cautioned that persistent legal disputes among party leaders could undermine the aspirations of grassroots members who are eager to test their popularity at the polls. You are listening to Metro News on RayPower 100.5 FM. We'll bring you more stories after the break. Please stay with us. With us now to the rest of the news. The United Nations mission in South Sudan has said that it would not comply with a government order to shut down its base in Akobo, an opposition stronghold near the Ethiopian border where tens of thousands of refugees have fled. On Friday, the South Sudanese army ordered UN peacekeepers as well as NGOs and civilians to vacate the town ahead of a planned assault. But the mission refused to leave and said it would provide a protective presence for civilians in the town, adding that the safety and security of its personnel must be fully respected at all times. The UN mission said it was engaging intensively with national, state, and local stakeholders regarding this order. And still on the foreign scene, Lebanon's president has called for direct negotiations with Israel as part of a proposal to end the escalating conflict with Hezbollah, while criticizing the Iran-backed group for dragging the country into a wider regional war. A spokesperson for President Joseph Aoun said Lebanon was ready to negotiate, but not while the country remained under Israeli fire. Israeli officials have shown little sign of backing negotiations, and the government did not immediately comment.
And now, a business update from RayPower 100 FM.
In business, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has approved a 2-month suspension of the enforcement of helicopter landing fees following concerns raised by operators in the oil and gas industry. Keyamo announced the decision after meeting with the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokpobiri, and a delegation of petroleum sector stakeholders at the Aviation Ministry headquarters in Abuja. The meeting focused on helicopter landing charges introduced by the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency for flights supporting oil and gas operations, including movements to offshore platforms, rigs, and other production facilities.
100.5 FM.
FM. Lawmakers in the United Kingdom have rejected a proposal to impose an Australia-style ban on social media use for children under the age of 16. The plan would have restricted access to platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. Instead, members of parliament opted for more flexible ministerial powers to regulate online platforms. The debate has drawn mixed reactions, with supporters including actor Hugh Grant, while critics such as the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children warned that strict bans could push young people toward less regulated parts of the internet. And that's it on entertainment. I am Onya Meche Adele.
RayPower Sport.
And in sports, former Manchester City and Newcastle United midfielder Joey Barton has reportedly been arrested on suspicion of wounding following an alleged altercation at a golf club. The incident is said to have occurred on the evening of March 8 at a sporting facility in Merseyside. Local police are reported to have taken Barton into custody in connection with the incident. Meanwhile, Nigeria's senior women's basketball team, the Tigers, has commenced training in France ahead of the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup Qualifying Tournament 2026. The seven-time African champions arrived in Lyon and have begun preparations for the competition, scheduled to run from March 11th to 17th. Videos shared on the team's official Instagram page showed the players taking part in their first training session and gym workouts as they prepare for their opening match against Colombia tomorrow.
RayPower weather.
Hazy conditions will persist across the country, especially in the northern and north-central regions, which may experience reduced visibility due to dust haze. Temperatures will remain warm but gradually cool into the night, while partly cloudy skies are expected in the southern region with a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms later tonight. You've been listening to Metro News on RayPower 100.5 FM. To end the news, here is our last line. In the words of James Clear, a writer known for his book Atomic Habits, every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you wish to become. And that's it for the Metro News. I am Idimachi Ikechukwu. You can now watch us online and subscribe to our YouTube channel at RayPower 100.5 FM Abuja. Also join us at 6 p.m. for our next bulletin, Nigeria Today, for news across the nation. Good evening.
Providing 360 degrees of information and entertainment. Reloaded for today's Niger.
RayPower.
Nigeria's original independent.